We are here to conduct an analysis. This is not a literary discussion, it is not a review. We are here to perform an autopsy. You've likely been told this is a romance, a tragic story of love set against the backdrop of war. This is a common misdiagnosis. The subject here is not love. The subject is a meticulously documented system of entrapment. You have heard these words before. Perhaps you found some comfort in them. You shouldn't. This is not a promise of resilience. It is a clinical observation of a hostile mechanism. It is a threat. The system's purpose is to break you, and what it cannot break, it kills. Our subject, Frederick Henry, presents initially in a state of willful sensory overload. He drinks, he jokes, he pursues women. These are all tactics to avoid a single dangerous activity, thought. Because in his environment, to think is to understand reality, and reality is a terminal diagnosis. Let us make our first incision. Here we expose the initial pathology, the complete failure of language in the face of mechanized death. The men around him, they talk of things like faith, honor, valor. To Henry, these words have become obscene. They are abstractions, hollowed out and made meaningless by the physical realities of war. The only things that retain any dignity are concrete: cheese, cognac, shrapnel, rain. Things you can taste or feel or be killed by. They are real. The rest is simply a lie. And here you can observe the rejection of the official narrative. His friend, Rinaldi, offers him the lie, the comfort of heroism. Henry corrects him with the concrete, mundane truth. He was eating cheese. This isn't just a witty remark. It's the pragmatism of the traumatized. It's a refusal to participate in the great lie. The subject now attempts his first escape. He tries to amputate himself from the social organism, from the obligations of war and country and duty. During the Caporetto retreat, you see, the social contract completely dissolves. The system turns on its own components. The battle police, who are meant to enforce order, they become executioners. For Henry, the army is no longer a brotherhood, it's a mob. So his escape into the river, that's not an act of cowardice. It is a rational rejection of a system that has gone insane. This is a kind of baptism, but it's not into life. It is a baptism into nothingness. He washes away his duty, his anger, his allegiance. He declares what he calls a separate peace. He believes he is now free from the trap of society. But he's mistaken. He has only escaped the first layer. Now, having fled the social trap, the subject walks directly into a second, more insidious one. He tries to find his escape in biology, in love. The affair with Catherine Barclay, you see, it starts as just another diversion. It's a game, another way not to think. But it evolves into something else, a desperate attempt to build a shelter against the world. They believe that the two of them can wall themselves off from reality. And here we find the core of our diagnosis. The biological trap. The universe, you see, it doesn't need shrapnel when it has anatomy. The very processes of life that we hold sacred, love, intimacy, procreation, they become weaponized. They are the instruments of destruction. Listen to Catherine's words here. This is the fatal assumption. She believes that because something is natural, it must be safe. But in this universe, natural is simply the mechanism of the trap. Her own biology, the very thing she trusts, is what is going to kill her. This is the central, unavoidable irony of the case. He successfully navigates the man-made chaos of the war. He dodges the trench mortars. He escapes the battle police. But he cannot escape the simple, indifferent mechanics of the human body. He has merely traded one predator for another. Now we have to examine the environment itself. The primary symptom of the universe's fundamental indifference. We must talk about the rain. The rain is a constant witness. It's always there. It falls during the army's collapse, it falls during their hopeful escape, and it falls at the moment of the final diagnosis. It is the backdrop to every single stage of the subject's entrapment. Do not mistake this for a romantic symbol of tragedy. The rain is not cleansing, it feels no sorrow. It is, quite simply, the indifferent state of the world. It is biology, it is weather, it is nothing. It's the perfect visual representation of a universe that does not care about you. We come now to the end of the procedure, the final report on the success of the biological trap. The first fatality, the umbilical cord, the very instrument of life, becomes the instrument of death. The system is so horribly efficient, it turns on itself, a perfect closed loop of destruction. The second fatality, Catherine dies from the act of creation itself. The promise of life is the direct cause of her death. The biological trap has now closed. There is no escape. And this is the final state of our subject. All his escapes have failed. The social escape led him to the biological trap. The biological trap has led to this complete negation, nothing. This is the subject's final observation. Catherine is no longer a person. She is an object, a statue. The emotional and spiritual core has been excised. The procedure is complete. All that remains is an empty shell, walking away from another empty shell. So the conclusion of this autopsy is simple. The system is designed for failure. There is no escape. The subject can be brave, he can endure, but he will be broken. The only variable is how one behaves while the breaking occurs. There is no savior, there is no rescue, there is only the log and the fire. This is Spotlight Reads. Face the nothing.
Welcome to Spotlight Reads. This is The Brief on a Farewell to Arms by Ernest Hemingway. You know, this novel is less a romance of the Great War and more a deep dive into emotional collapse. It's the story of two people trying to build a shelter against a universe that has basically dissolved into meaninglessness. First, the book establishes war not as some stage for heroism, but as a meaningless, grinding machine. You see this abandonment of purpose everywhere, in cynical officer conversations, discussions of self-inflicted wounds, and ultimately Lieutenant Henry's own desertion. He realizes anger was washed away in the river, along with any obligation. Second, love becomes a desperate, but, well, temporary, shelter against all of this. Catherine attempts a kind of total self-erasure, telling Henry, there isn't any me anymore, just what you want. It's her way of trying to create a perfect, contained reality, but it's an illusion, always underscored by anxiety and Henry's own avoidance. And finally, Hemingway's minimalist style, it's not just a style, it mirrors the emotional numbness of his characters. It makes the final tragedy so much heavier, because fate is portrayed as just indifferent, not cruel. Henry's reaction is a flat, immediate numbness, confirming the very despair they tried to escape. He says, everything was gone inside of me. I did not think. I could not think. The book is really a study of what remains when life's grand structures just dissolve into nothingness. This was Spotlight Reads.